In a quiet village, surrounded by date palms and sand, there lived a young woman named Zaynab. She was known for her beauty, her gentle smile, and her kindness to everyone, but her heart was far from peace. Behind her calm face lay a secret, one that would shake the village long after she was gone. Zaynab was married to a wealthy man named Harith, a merchant who was admired by all. Yet what people didn't know was that Harith was cruel and controlling. He loved his wealth more than his wife. He would often lock her in the house and treat her like a prisoner. Still, Zaynab endured, for she believed patience and prayer could heal even the hardest of hearts. One day, Harith left for a long journey to trade in another city. During his absence, a famine struck the land. Zaynab, known for her compassion, gave away food and money to the poor, using what Harith had stored in their home. When Harith returned and saw his storerooms empty, his rage was beyond measure. "How dare you waste my wealth on beggars?" he shouted. "They were hungry, and Allah commands us to give," Zaynab said softly. "You have disobeyed me," he roared, his eyes burning with anger. That night something terrible happened. The next morning, Zaynab was dead. The villagers mourned deeply, believing she had fallen ill. Harith arranged her burial quickly, without allowing anyone to see her face. He acted like a grieving husband, but his eyes were cold. 3 days passed. Then, on the 4th night, a strange thing happened. A man named Yusuf, the village gravedigger, came running to the mosque just before dawn. His face was pale as the moon, and his voice trembled. She spoke," he gasped. "Who?" asked the imam, startled. "The woman from the grave, Zaynab. She spoke from her grave." The people thought he had gone mad, but Yusuf swore by Allah. He said he had gone to check the cemetery because he saw light coming from Zaynab's grave. When he went closer, he heard a faint voice calling, "Ya Allah, justice, justice." The imam gathered the men of the village and went with Yusuf to the cemetery. The night was silent and the air was heavy. As they stood around the grave, they too heard a faint voice, soft, trembling, but real. "Ya Allah, Harith, he killed me." The men froze. The imam immediately ordered the grave to be opened. As they dug, they saw something that made their hearts tremble. Zaynab's face was fresh, as if she had just been buried. Her eyes were closed, her lips slightly parted, and on her neck were marks, bruises of strangulation. The imam fell to his knees. "Subhanallah," he whispered. "The grave speaks the truth when the world hides lies." The news spread like wildfire. Harith was arrested and brought before the Qadi, the Islamic judge. When confronted, he denied everything. "She died of illness," he insisted. But then something remarkable happened. The Qadi ordered that Harith be taken to the cemetery to face her grave. When they stood there, Harith trembled. Suddenly, the wind grew strong, the sky darkened, and a voice clear and echoing rose from the grave once more. "O Harith, you took my life unjustly. You silenced me, but Allah gave me a voice." Harith fell to the ground screaming, forgive me," but it was too late. He confessed his crime before all. The Qadi sentenced him according to the law, and he was punished for murder. After that day, the people of the village began to fear injustice like never before. They saw with their own eyes that Allah can give voice to the silent and life to the dead when truth must be revealed. The imam gave a sermon in the mosque that Friday. He said, "O believers, never think that death hides your deeds. Allah says in the Quran, and do not think that Allah is unaware of what the wrongdoers do. He only delays them for a day when eyes will stare in horror." The Obri 14:40-42. Zaynab's voice was not her own. It was the justice of Allah. When we harm others, when we betray trust, when we think no one sees, know that Allah sees. He is Allah Hadla, the most just. From that day forward, the graveyard became a place of reflection. People would visit Zaynab's grave, not to seek her help, but to remember the power of truth. Mothers told their children her story so they would grow up fearing Allah and never oppressing others. Years later, an old man visited her grave, Yusuf, the grave digger. He placed his hand on the soil and said, "You spoke once, and it awakened a whole village." Then he whispered a dua, "Ya Allah, grant her Jannah, for she reminded us all that your justice never sleeps." And from then on, in that village, whenever someone tried to cheat, lie, or harm another, people would say, "Beware, even the grave can speak if Allah wills." Because Zaynab's story lived on, a woman who spoke from the grave, reminding the living that no sin remains buried forever, and Allah knows best.